Okay, so we killed the golden alpaca. I actually thought I started the last episode for some reason.
You know, I can certainly understand that fear, but at the very least, we're about to get a chest with...
$1,000!
Wow! Okay.
The secret is the golden alpaca was made of gold. Let's head out of the sewer.
Sure.
So, this game likes to pull stupid bullshit on me. Welcome to hell.
As a viewer, I feel that it is pulling stupid bullshit on me as well. Oh, but we're just back in the sewer template.
Yeah, we don't even get a white void. Unfortunately, they did put us against, like, the nastiest enemies in this area. And I'm not just saying it because they're poos. I'm actually saying it because they do a shit ton of damage, and also they have AoEs, so they're really irritating. Like so.
It is what it is. At the very least, I think you're actually doing a creditable job of managing both time energy and these dodges on a regular basis.
I'm trying. I'm hoping that there's going to be some kind of weapon or some kind of skill I can get from, like, you know, Michael. He doesn't really seem to have a lot of worthwhile skills. Where I can buff our time energy or our time energy gain or something. You know what I mean?
I feel like in another game, that's the sort of thing that might be relegated to, say, a rare item or something that you might find after an optional quest, but...
Oh yeah, you're right. That makes sense. Or something like, you mean like something like a piece of equipment that like doubles your time energy when you get damaged?
Presumably.
Yeah, but that's a smart idea, and of course this game is, you know, this game doesn't believe in those.
15% at this point. As I said, if it did...
Yeah. So welcome back to the overworld. They forgot to switch my control scheme.
Oh.
Yeah?
Oh.
Oh my god, you have no idea how long it took me to figure out that they'd fucked around with my control scheme.
Are you... By any chance, with the control scheme you're describing, is it going into tank controls or something like that for this section?
No, it just sort of seems to just sort of change around based on, you know, however the camera decides it wants to behave. Which way is due north? Which is almost as bad as tank controls, but I can do those. I played Resident Evil.
Okay, so yeah, I can see the pattern that they're expecting you for that to complete this section, but...
Good, because I didn't for like another 6 minutes.
Oh, Diacorn. You've, as far as first Let's Play experiences for RPGs go, you sure picked a winner here.
Oh my god, I did. Yeah, Camecorn's kind of a dum-dum.
It's okay, man.
I think at this point my strategy is that if I take every door, I will eventually find the solution. If I can figure out the controls, because of course they're flipped upside down for this one.
Of course. So, funnily enough, there's a dungeon towards the end of Shin Megami Tensei 4 that does something similar to this, but it actually does give you the courtesy of, while making explicit the fact that you are upside down walking on the ceiling, flipping the camera around so that you actually are able to navigate somewhat effectively.
Yeah, see, that's the way that they could have done this.
What's actually curious in Megaten 4's case is that the way they actually screwed you up, at least in a overall orientation sense whenever you did that, is that it would allow you to move correctly in terms of where your character's moving, but you take a look at the mini-map and you're actually moving in the opposite direction, or at least moving as though your controls were flipped to kind of disorient you that way.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of what they were going for here. Like they said, Well, let's put Alex the player on the Dutch angle, even though that doesn't perfectly map to a control stick.
Yeah.
And it works out about as well as you might expect.
Yeah, what that sort of tells me is that they've gone through a system where they just rendered the entire level as though you would be playing through it through the standard camera angle and then just adjusting it to reflect these new perspectives, where a better game might actually be inclined to, say, play through that level with that new orientation and adjust the movement controls to reflect it a bit more accurately.
Yeah, it allows you to build muscle memory, which of course this didn't, and especially so because I skipped the, I think there was like 3 minutes of me figuring out how this worked. So eventually I do kind of finally figure out that I have to follow the entity. This strikes me as kind of a problem with signaling, because we've been sort of talking about that as one of the things this game routinely has issues with. Also, they put me upside down for this one, so that's cool too.
Right.
Because, this entire game, they keep saying, don't go near soul survivors. You can't fight them. They're bad news, right?
Right.
And then they give me a puzzle where the way to do it is to go follow the soul survivor.
Yeah.
I'm not trained as a player to do that.
The fact that they don't really kind of penalize you in a meaningful way for missing the pattern until it gets to that point is, somewhat appreciable, but at the same time, the theming is just all over the place. I can't really judge from one circumstance to the next what is motivating these characters' actions or the consistency of their behaviors.
Because nothing motivates them. Alex is just, designed to be, I guess, sort of this unlikable dude, and, Vela is the only person here who has any real character motivation. She's the only person whose character is fleshed out well enough, of the sort of main three, to give her a compelling backstory. And that's not to say that Rory's backstory isn't compelling either. It's definitely been explored in a way that gives his setup credence, but it does also sort of make you wonder why he's here, right? Like, why is he still hanging out with Alex and Michael? Vela's the person who, seems to be the only one who gives a shit about him.
Alex!
Well, at this point, I think it can be excused just by virtue of the fact that we haven't actually exited the series yet and don't therefore have an opportunity to kind of explore the next part of his motivations or what he intends to do going forward.
I think I have exited the sewers, just the animation budget ran out, so they couldn't draw another background.
Yeah, I guess technically when you think about it, we have already been back in Alex's place, and now we're in a strange dimension where we're not quite sure what's going to happen, but I'm sure there are monologues to follow, so, we've got those to look forward to.
Yeah, but we haven't hit any yet. I don't know why there's money here.
Sure. Also, I was going to mention that, again, one of those things where you kind of think about where you sort of think about things at first and the idea gets worse the longer you think about it. The whole, at the end of the boss fight, getting just $1,000 in a chest, that seems kind of inherently less interesting as a reward than, say, some kind of rare item or some kind of object of personal value, say, to Rory, given what he's just been through.
Yeah, I would love to get something that expands on Rory's character. I would love there to be something like a magic bracelet, something that... Because I think he was talking about, like, stuffed animals and stuff, right? Like, he followed some stuffed animals down here?
Yeah, it was that his sister had apparently left toys at various places that were then the sites of terrible and unlikely accident.
See, y'all, we were paying attention. Also, of course, these are the things Alex can say with regard to God. Anyway, I think the game missed a severe opportunity to really do something meaningful as a result of winning that boss fight. I mean, $1,000 is more than, like, everything that I've seen in the game so far.
True, but its kind of potential as a reward has already been explored in a big way. I mean,
The reward was exposition.
Yeah.
You know, that thing that I'm trying to actively avoid.
The thing we're barely managing to pay attention to.
I will give the game credit. This is a really interesting area. I do like the way this area is set up. It's got a clear color scheme. It's got clear division. I don't know how I feel about the NPCs here being soul survivors that you're talking to, but I like the overall aesthetic. It really does feel like I've somehow stumbled out of reality, you know?
And yeah, the minimalist soundtrack actually contributes to it in a meaningful way, I think.
Yeah, this is like the first occasion where the soundtrack has actually been sort of fitting, except for Windtown. Windtown was neat.
And as we've seen in our thread, more than likely just taken from a different source. But
the point still stands.
At the end of the day, the aesthetic, this change in sensibilities, I still can't say with any valid expectation of whether I'm correct or not what is motivating it and what the impact on the rest of the game is supposed to be.
I don't think there is supposed to be one.
We're again just kind of going down another possible plot thread that may or may not have immediate consequences, or may not actually have any sort of intrigue to it because it gets lost in a sea of other things we're supposed to be paying attention to.
Yeah, no, like you and I have been saying, this is not a postmodernist RPG. This is a Dadaist RPG, because nothing here has any real meaning or point. This fourth entity is unclean and unkind, so of course we're going to go give him a baptism, I guess, maybe?
He asked for death, so, you know, don't exactly know how Alex feels about that one, but...
Well, we've already established he's pretty apathetic toward it. Sorry, buddy, you can't come with us. And now we're back here.
Hey, Vela, think.
She really is gone, isn't she? What the hell am I going to do?
Rory,
You guys
your
realize how messed
levels
up
are a
all
little
this
off
is?
there, buddy.
My 12-year-old sister killed herself. She died right here. Right where we're standing.
Hey, dude, cool it with that! No one cares about your sister right now. We almost just died ourselves!
So Rory sounds slightly too
Alex,
subdued
what is
for...
wrong with you?
Yeah,
How can
it
you
sounds
be
like
so
they forgot to
selfish?
tweak him up after applying his voice compression.
Yeah,
You're an asshole, Alex.
thank you.
I thought you came to help me.
Yeah, back when you didn't lie to us! You realize you've been leading us on this whole time about your sister? You acted like this was connected to Sammy!
That's what this is about? Why did he ever get that impression?
Both of you,
I
try
don't
and
think
calm
that Rory
down.
ever said the word Sammy, did he?
Alex, leave Rory alone. That's uncalled for. And Rory, breathe with me. In, out.
I remember seeing this
Yeah,
and thinking,
just
wow,
like
it's kind of weird that Vela's lips are still moving while she's doing this.
Again, just kind of the... Okay.
Yeah, so we went back to Dada Land.
Just between scenes, leaving that whole discussion point kind of unresolved.
Why did you just say that to
Yeah,
Rory?
welcome to the movie theater from Dead Rising. The cult is us.
The Alex I know would have never acted this way.
So I saw an Alex 1 and Alex 1
Man,
or
school
11
really
and a
changed
111.
you.
I thought this was supposed to be binary, so I was kind of looking for the rest of them, but there are only 5 of them here.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't
This is
school
where I
that
figured
changed
out
you.
it
Just
wasn't
think about
binary.
it, dude.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a case where the font
Yeah, why
really
you being such a
doesn't
dick,
serve
Alex?
that.
No, it doesn't. I
Seriously,
can't
man,
tell
keep
if
it
this is
together.
a 5 or in Roman numerals or supposed to be a V. You know, to the game's credit, this is a cool looking area. I like the aesthetic here. Like, this is still nice.
I know you got scared because
Just,
you almost died down
is
there.
this really
Can't
the
you see
best
that
time
Rory
to
is
be
hurt?
having your
His
inner
sister freaking
monologues?
killed herself.
And yeah,
Like, really? Now?
as far as setup for inner monologue or reflection of
You
self-doubt.
know full well that you're
It's
overreacting.
an
But you just
interesting
won't back down.
perspective, but
Will it kill you to say you're
something
sorry?
that is just
Seriously?
not working for the
say you're
flow
sorry.
of the rest of this scene.
They've somehow managed to make Alex's monologues even
really gonna
more
regret this once that
unbearable,
hot-headed
and the
yours
way
is
they
clear.
did that was by making me play through them.
Bella's not ever gonna go on a date with you. And Michael's gonna find better friends in college. Seriously, just stop being such a loser.
And again, I can't really say
Bella
that
thinks you're a stuck-up rich kid
this
who's never known real-world problems in
has
his life.
any kind of interest for me, because I feel as though the way this is being externalized means
I
that
think the same
Alex
thing,
isn't actually going to get anything
so
from
now
this.
you're going back to
Or
reality.
at least he's going to frame
ready
it
to
in
back down?
terms of this just another crazy occurrence that he can't make sense of, and
want to
that
say I'm
this
sorry, I
actually
just-
won't
I don't know if I
motivate
can.
anything in the future.
There's always time to say you're sorry,
I don't
right?
think it's even that. I think they just decided that Alex didn't deserve just one monologue, but like 5 of
How do you
them.
expect me to remain calm with all this crazy shit going on around us?
Well, based on that reaction, I
Just 'cause
think
you're
that
cool
I'm
with
actually
soul
correct
survivors
in
and
terms
astral
of
projection or whatever
the
the hell
fact
you've
that
been
this
on
isn't
about.
impacting
Doesn't mean
him in a
everyone else
meaningful way.
is.
No, you're right. They just pretended it didn't happen.
Shut up! Stop it! This isn't all about you, you know!
You know, sort of like all
Fine.
the scenes in the hospital room and
Whatever's going
You
on
said that this
inside
isn't
our
about
haunted
Sammy,
house.
But don't you think there is a
yeah,
connection?
the creepypasta.
Don't you
That hasn't been
realize
brought up
Sammy
yet.
was probably taken by one of those soul creeps?
No, that's not right. That isn't how this works. Soul survivors wouldn't take someone like that. They have no interest in such things. They've transcended things like kidnapping or anger or any other motivation for that.
Transcending? What does that even mean?
They see the universe for what it is. They see how temporary our worldly wants and desires are.
Okay, that's an interesting
There was
turn.
nothing.
Bella,
they
you're
conveyed
getting a
for
little
taking
preachy
living
here.
being. It's likely that Sammy herself has simply left this reality.
Left the reality? You think she left her body or whatever? Then you obviously weren't listening when I said she was taken by 2 of those soul survivors.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mode
You
Wondershot,
weren't
but did he
there
ever
when she
actually
was
say
screaming
that
for
to
them not
Bella?
to take her again.
It's one of those cases where I
Okay,
feel like it was
give me a
glossed
second to
over
think.
just in
I'm sure I can
terms of a
explain it.
summary of prior events, and so
Look, guys,
again, the
I'll
fact
see you
that
around.
I
This is
don't
seriously the
recall
last
how
time
that
we
was
hang out
framed
online on the
exactly
internet.
is honestly kind of troubling for my read on this scene right now.
Good for sticking up for yourself, Rory.
Wait! Come back! Rory! Great, Alex. Now look what you did.
Hey, this isn't my fault. Don't blame that on me. He's the one who lied to us.
Dude! He was obviously just hurting. Just needed someone to reach out to.
So
Could you
what
have
I
said
still
exactly
think
what's
hasn't
going
been
on?
addressed is the
Even
fact that
hiding behind a
I'm
computer.
not getting
Can't
any
help but
understanding
think
of
what you think
why
you do.
Alex's motivation for going on this part of the journey he assumed was related to what he was
Alex,
going through
you
based
need to
on
clear your
Rory's
head.
description of what was happening.
Michael, you go back
No,
and
that's
look
that's
Alex.
pretty much what I've
I'm gonna
gotten
go
out
figure
of
some
this.
things out. I'll be in
I
touch
think
when
this
I
is
can.
one of these things where the developers are clearly
In the
trying to
meantime,
paint
try
Alex in
not
a
to
bad
be
light
such a jerk
because
to
nobody
your
ever
friends.
said Sammy, right? This
Right.
was never about
that
Sammy.
kid
Nobody ever said
isn't my
Sammy
friend.
except for Alex. Or even at the bus station, remember the My
it,
Sammy
man.
thing?
You're missing the point.
Right.
Yeah. No, this is clearly one of these things where they're trying to take a cheap shot at Alex, but I have no reason to believe that they're ever going to actually affect any change in Alex's character because we're like 5 hours into this thing and nothing's fucking happened.
Well, if the term reluctant apology tour is any indication, I
Okay.
do think there's
Maybe
going
I
to
blew
be
up
at
at
least
Rory.
the token effort at
Maybe he didn't deserve that abuse.
self-reflection under these circumstances.
I'll admit that much.
Nah, dude, that was just
I'm
the
scared.
reunion tour
So many
after the
odd
Magical
things
Mystery
were
Tour.
happening around me, and I didn't handle it very well. First I met Sammy, then I lost Sammy. Then I met Rory, who had lost Carrie. For a moment, I considered saying that we were alike, but I often have to remind myself that I didn't really know Sammy.
Yes, and somehow she's your main
Met
plot
only
token.
once. But still, I I can't get her off my mind.
Okay, so what's troubling you, Alex?
I genuinely thought that Panda had
Could you tell
switched voice
something's
actors here
troubling
for a minute.
He
You're
definitely
making your
sounds like he
thinking
has.
face.
He went from Robin Williams to
Mainly, I'm
occasionally
thinking
Dan
about what Bella said.
Castellaneta.
About detaching your soul from your body or whatever. She
That
seems
is
convinced
a
that
sharp
Sammy had done
observation, my friend.
that. Somehow it just feels wrong. Sammy was taken by something. She struggled and then she tried to fight them off. It doesn't seem like she willed her mind to separate from her body.
I don't know why mind and body are capitalized here.
Ever since then, I've just had this
Obsession
terrible
with
dark
proper
gloom
nouns
following
or
me.
rendering of
No matter what I do,
fairly basic terms
can't
as
shake
proper
this
nouns
feeling.
is certainly symptomatic
I
of
just feel
certain
like all my
types of
focus has been on the wrong
JRPGs.
thing all this time.
And also terrible fiction.
I feel like Michael's excitement
Terrible
over
fiction
finding the
most
soul
likely
survivors made me
inspired
forget
by
about
said
finding Sammy.
JRPGs.
That pisses me off. We should be out there looking for her.
Where do you think you'd look for her? Do you really even know anything about her?
I don't know. Maybe I'll.
Alex! I'm home! Come down!
Oh,
We'll resume this conversation later.
I know, I was just as surprised as you are. Mom is in fact not the final boss because she shows up.
I mean, if I know anything about JRPGs, that never actually precludes her from being the final boss, but
She's probably like the bonus boss. Thread, please don't make me play this game to the point where I can fight a bonus boss.
yeah.
She doesn't look like a boss.
I will say, too, there'd certainly be kind of a disturbing implication in the idea that Alex at some point has to fight his mom based on the fact that we're absolutely observing the many issues that Alex seems to have with women over the course of the story.
I would argue that Alex has been fighting his mom his whole life. But she's going to have to be put on hold because we're going to the mine dungeon again.
Oh, great. That said, we're actually potentially seeing something new here in that...
Yeah, because of the banish thing. You see that black ink spot down there above the +1? That means that there's a soul survivor in there. You know, I'm like, okay, whatever. The only person who can banish soul survivors is Vela, right?
Right.
Like that was the reason that we were able to win that last fight, right?
Right.
Nope, Alex can do it too. Because of course he can, he's the main character.
So the only kind of interesting justification for that, as far as I'm concerned here, is the fact that since it is explicitly Alex's mind dungeon, that he actually has that potential based on circumstance more than anything.
I guess that's true.
But again, it kind of doesn't jive with, unless you open that door to the left and it actually reveals Alex's ability to now use Banish as well, that's not something I think as valuable.
No, it gives Rory the ability to sacrifice. Cool. Rory's not with us anymore. We scared him off.
I mean, there's something in many RPGs, which is the idea that the interface spoils some aspect of the story or some twist that comes up based on referring to a specific character or the absence thereof.
Yeah, no. Inevitably, we will get Rory back.
Yeah.
And if my JRPG instincts count for anything, it's probably going to be sometime before the third act or shortly thereafter.
And at this point, it's also worth noting that, well, maybe we'll get some more information as to how the entities actually modify the stats for the icons that we end up getting out of them.
Yeah, you know, when I was coming into the mine dungeon, I was like, oh shit, I don't have Vela anymore. How am I going to fight the entities? And then it turns out, well, this is Alex's mine dungeon. He's the main character, so of course he can just do it.
I'll just throw a quick shout out to Combat Lobster for being nice enough to explain many of the intricacies of this game's background mechanics to us, and maybe you can enlighten us on that particular point.
as far as I can tell, there's literally no reason not to banish as many soul survivors as possible to the Mind Dungeon, because ultimately they're just as easy to banish permanently here, and... Wow, okay, that was a bad time for that to cut off.